Good evening. This is my storytelling story, which is called They Just Disappeared. It's a little long. It was a dreary day. All the birds had stopped calling since midday. We were unable to hear anything, neither to see. The sky was clear and blue the day before, and suddenly, that day, it turned dark and cloudy. Alas, before dawn, I had already made all the preparations. Dean and Sam were all set. The only thing left to do was just to make sure those kids also went there. We had been telling stories all autumn by the fire, talking about how the strange man dwelled in those kind of buildings. The thing is, it was real. My mom used to tell me the usual bedtime story stuff so that I would be asleep fast and calmly. However, when she worked late, my older brother would actually listen to me and share the good stuff. The Scrapbook, if I recall correctly, was the name of the man that traveled in the dark into towns just like the one we used to live in, gathering all sorts of treats and trinkets throughout his travels. How do you know that, Ian? Because, looking upside, kind of reminiscing, I used to have a friend who saw him. And how did he? We never saw him again. Then he stayed quiet, my brother. He didn't know how to get my attention. At that point, I was having the chills. All the way through my spine, I felt the fear and alertness those sorts of things give a 5-year-old boy. It turns out that the strange man disguised himself as a wandering traveler during the day. But that was how he picked his victims. My brother's friend, I remember now, he was never found. People said he ran away to live with relatives. Others said that he had a drug problem and had to leave town. I was a little boy back then, but still today, remembering those stories give me the chills. Now, 9 years later, it was my turn to pass on these stories into my town, and nothing gets the neighborhood going like those sorts of legends. The thing was that there were some new kids on the block from down south or something around Texas, who, and I quote, were as brave as Billy the Kid, said Dean. If it weren't for them, I don't know what would I do ever since my brother left college. They think they can take over our town, Adam, he said with a hurry-like prose. Let them think that. We will show him who is in charge. Now that I think about it, Sam and Dean did make a pretty good team, always saying what the other was missing, or giving the other a hard time for being a coward or a fool. Maybe that is what caused them to go farther into that damned abandoned school. What exactly are you talking about, Sam? I couldn't resist asking. I was ecstatic. The same thing, you are a dumbass. We will gather near the woods that surround the school with the others. Bring the skateboards and the camera. Then, we will tell them about the dude who is hiding in there. And, since they are a bunch of idiots, we will dare them to go inside and record him. But I don't think they have a camera. If we had only went with that idea. So what? Their father works at the general store. Surely they'll get a hold of one. I was not at all thinking about that, but Sam did an excellent job feeling for my brother. I was always at his side, looking for stuff to do, and he would always go along. Maybe since Dean was such a drag, Sam was also happy to have someone who would have his back. In a way, we were all brothers. But we should do that in the nighttime, just before dawn. I was hoping to impress him, to be honest. even though I was actually thinking about giving them a beating. Yes, we should also carry some flashlights and batteries. Let me see, what else? Guys, again interrupting with his few big boys, Dean. What if we just try to befriend them? They don't seem so bad. Shut up, Dean. We cannot let anyone trying to be leaders in our town. Just because they come from somewhere far bigger and their parents are rich doesn't mean they can think they are better than us. Right, Adam? The look on Sam's eyes was straightforward, convincing. Yes, Dean, we are the ones in charge, and it has to show. You're both retards, you know? Maybe, but not chickens. I was so happy when Sam burst out laughing. Poor old Dean. If only I had been more kind to him instead of following Sam all around. Maybe things would have been different, but well, we were only 14, and being the toughest kids in the neighborhood was everything to us, even to Dean. We were all set and ready. The camera had a full battery. We had our gloves and our cargo pants. And then Dean came with the masks. I was surprised. Even though he was hesitant at first, he actually ended up going through with it. Then we just needed to wait for the new kids to come and explore. The spot we picked was pretty good. No one would ever see us hiding in there without owl masks. Or so we thought. We heard them going inside, talking in their weird southern hillbilly way. I hated that, to be honest. Be careful not to make any sound, Sam, Dean whispered very quietly. Then shut up, man. Jesus. I thought it was a little too loud, what Sam responded. But I was just so focused in those assholes, looking at how they were jumping through a hole in the ceiling. So I just kept quiet. Suddenly, we lost track of them. That was the moment that we thought it would be best to split and find them. And ultimately, give them a good fucking scare, you know? Worst decision ever. Whoever finds them first wins, and the other two are their slaves for a month. That was the last thing Sam said to me. While I was crawling through the building, only the sound of the new kids coming closer was in my mind. And then bam! Ooh! 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 I was making this sound while holding my camera. What the fuck, Richard? What the fuck? They ran so fast, one fell and they left them behind. So much for bravery on those rednecks. I was laughing so hard that I got dizzy. Also, the heat from the mask and the crawling didn't help, because then I was struggling to stay on my both legs. Then, after I finished laughing and those dumbasses were gone, I started to call for the guys. I was so happy because I won. I still hope Sam could know. Maybe that would have made him proud or something. I did it! Come on, guys! Let's go and show the others the film. There was no answer. It was at that moment that I started to be aware of how dark it was in there, how quiet, and how eerie I felt. Not even the birds could be heard. I started to look for the guys, but also to panic. Every little sound I heard made me fall to the ground. It was suddenly my own breathing what took all the silence from the air. Come on, Sam, this isn't funny anymore. Guys? Dean? All reliable Dean, not answering. I really started to feel the joke was actually on me. But how could have they played it like that all along? They were terrible at acting. Then I saw him, or at least I thought I did. Sam! Oh my god, what the fuck, man? I started to. That is not Sam. Then this dark silhouette, whom at first I thought was Sam, just stood there, looking at me. Are you sure it was not Sam or Dean? Are you serious? I wish I could shake that off my fucking head. That face. Go on then. That thing. He took my friend's officer. Please, find him, please. Don't get all mad on me right now, Mr. Donovan. Stay on topic and give me the details, the officer said. The officer was calm, or at least tried to appear calm. But deep down I know he was losing his patience. Not a very bright fellow on the job, if you ask me. Then, after starting to talk about that figure, everything became blurry. What else do you remember? He started to walk to me, slowly. I was terrified to use my flashlight. What was I going to see? Were the stories true? There was someone or something lurking in the dark along with us? Then, as I flickered my light frontwards, I saw it. Dean's mask, hanging from that thing's arms, and covered in blood. Everything happened so quickly, yet for me, I was standing still for ages, not being able to move an inch. Then, when my arms didn't respond, the sound of my flashlight made me wake up as it tore through the floor. And thus I ran. I ran just like the new kids were running before me. Just how I would laugh at someone running for their lives. I struggled to find the exit, but somehow I did. Still, I was hoping to find my friends, but they never came. I looked at the sky and it was so dark and quiet. There were no stars, no sounds, not even from the birds, as if they had all left knowing something was going to happen that night. I should have known. It was a dreary night.